Okay, whatever, everybody. Got a quick project here. I started, and I should have actually, done this from the start. What we have here is the Surron tidy tail. Keeps your license plates, all that stuff on there. But what happens is this is very, very thin aluminum. And so, as you can see, it failed. This sort of hangs off the back of the bike underneath the seat, and it vibrates. When it vibrates, it breaks. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this piece of metal here, and we're going to attach it to the new tidy tail. As you can see, there's no holes here. I've added holes on this tidy tail. In case you're wondering what this is, in terms of I can't get it. It's the same piece. So this piece and this piece, man, I'm like all over the place. This piece and this piece are the same, as you can see. So this is what it originally looks like. And as you can see, it's like just attached by a little thin thing. So now, I've got this reinforced piece of metal here, and I'm going to attach this here. And so what I did was I drilled holes so that even in the vibrations, even if this breaks, this is going to be attached by these two bolts here, these two bolts here. This right here, these are the lines that attach it to underneath the seat of the Surron. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to measure this out. We are going to cut it, maybe roughly there, and then we're going to drill holes at the exact same locations in here. We're going to do that by marking it off with a pencil using the holes. And then we're going to drill the holes in here. And to drill the holes, I used a size 6 drill bit and then followed up with just a thing that makes a little bevel. Because what happens is when I put the screws in here, I want the screws to be flush. And so I got screws that can actually go flush with the surface here. So let's get to it. Let's continue. So now we have our piece of metal cut. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put it on here like this, obviously from the other side, but I'm just showing you right now. And then we're going to mark it. Now, what I'm worried about is when I want to attach it to the seat, that this is in the way, and you won't be able to get the bolts on there. So I'm hoping I can attach the bolts here. And this thing is not in the way. I hope. We'll see. All we can do is try. Because when you're trying to tighten down the bolts, I don't know if you guys know what I mean. It's like this is at a higher level than this. So I don't really see a way to tighten it without it causing problems. We'll see what happens. We'll give it a try. So now, you can barely see the markings, but they're there. You see? There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. And then we need to take this, and we need to stamp our initial drill hole, point inside this, right in the middle, bink, and then we can start drilling. So now we've stamped our holes. They're not perfect, but it's good enough. And what we want to do, for this work, since the metal is so thick, it's preferable you'd have a drill press. But I didn't see this warranting buying a drill press. Just a little bit of WD-40. That's more than a little bit. Don't spray the rest because I need to hold this since I don't have a drill press. And then we use our drill bit. This is an expensive one. Hopefully it goes through easily. We'll see what happens. Okay, so first hole is completed. Then we're going to finish the hole off with this. It's really hard to do without a vise. This thing likes to spin around once you get through. And as you can see, my hole is not centered, but it's fine. What we need is this just to go on there. Hopefully it's not too far off to where it gets in the line of the holes where it attaches to the seat, but this should be good enough. Let's do the rest. So this is the initial job. Let's check and see if it lines up. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just got to be able to run our bolts through there. And looking good, Vern. Oh, wait. We're off a bit. We're off one a bit, but I might have it backwards. Let's try it. Yeah, I had it backwards. So here we go. It's not perfect, but it's enough to fit our bolts through there. Now, I picked a size 6 for the hole, but the bolts and the screws that go in here are size 5. And I did it specifically because of this, because, the punching part, you might not get perfect. So like this, my size 5s will fit through it, even though it's crooked. So we're good. So let's finish off these ends and go from there. So just in case you're wondering, if I was full of BS, it fits, see? So what we're going to do is we're going to bevel these because you see they're they're above the surface. So we take one screw and we use that other tool to make it so that these are flush with the metal. so there's no sticking up point here. And then this is going to go on the bike just like this. So we're going to have this part facing up just like this, and we're going to have the bolts and the washers on this side. Okay, and this is what it looks like. Now, as you can see, it's flush. You take it out. Boom, there you go. Do the other side just a little bit. Don't do it this deep. You don't have to. But do the other side also, because it's just like it's rough over here. So maybe it'll cause it to not be flush against the metal when you attach it to the bike. Okay, so we're done. As you can see, the duller the blade gets, the less quality the cut becomes. Do the other side just slightly to just take off the metal edges. So we'll clean this up and then slap it on. Now, this is what it's going to look like, and then we're going to take the flex that we used to cut this piece of metal, we're going to cut these off. But because the bike vibrates so much, the bolts will probably pop off. So what we're going to do is we're going to slap Loctite on there and then screw these down really hard and let the Loctite do its thing. Boom. And then hopefully they don't vibrate off. So we'll put Loctite down, screw it down, and put Loctite around it once we're finished drying. Once we're finished tightening it down so that there's Loctite here on the top, it seeps down in. I don't know if it works like that, but we're going to do it like that. All right. So it's hard to tighten this down really hard with the screw over here because the screwdriver head will rip. As you can see, this one's slightly ripped. So what you can do, since we're going to cut this off anyway, you could just use a pair of pliers. Okay, probably not needle nose, but you could use some pliers, grip it, and you don't have to worry about tearing up the head. You don't have to worry about it, and then tighten it down like that. So use your wrench down here. I used too much Loctite there. Yes, I know. It happened on accident. You can use your wrench here and then hold it with pliers up here and tighten it down. You don't have to worry about tearing up your screw heads on the other side, because this is going to get cut off anyway. So this is the 90% finished product. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? And then basically what we got to do is we got to cut these off right at the bolt. And then when we install it, it goes in like this. No, sorry, like this. So, again, the concept is when this starts to vibrate, it's not going to fail like this one did. So here we have the failure, exact same piece. And yeah, right here where it failed is right here. It's going to take a lot more for this thing to fail. So it can vibrate all it wants. I won't give a damn. Let's see what happens, guys. So here we go. Cut the ends off with what the Germans call a flex. Now we just need to attach it and see if we can actually make this fit on here. This thing might be in the way with the bolts because the bolts come through. So basically, from the bike, they come up here like this. And when we're trying to attach a bolt, it might not attach properly because, this thing is in the way. Hopefully we can attach it right at the end. We'll try and let's see what happens. Okay, yes, I have Hulk socks on. And wife's joke. So, this is the broken piece here. These are the wires that connect them to the tidy tail. And then basically, there you see inside there, maybe you see inside there, the broken piece. This is just going to slide right in inside there when it's finished and hook up underneath the seat. Let's see how this goes. I might have to cut this here, make it shorter so we got more space to put bolts in. The more I look at this, the less hope I have that this is going to fit on there like this. I don't know if we could have done it with these facing up if there's space. Because then I could switch this to the other side. Oh no, it's still the same problem though. Anyway, we'll see. So, here's the broken part. And as we can see, it is right at the end. So our part should fit on without a problem. Since we're going to attach it right here at the end. We can pull this off. And then pull this broken part off, replace this. And then put everything back together. And hook everything up, of course, to the wires. You have to test it before we of course, assemble everything. So we'll wire it up and then, throw everything on there. So here are the parts side by side. This is the reinforcement. This is the original. And we're hoping this reinforcement is going to do the trick. I'm pretty sure it is. To be honest, this piece is actually quite expensive, so it doesn't make sense that it broke so easy, but whatever. We shouldn't have to do modifications for something that's, relatively expensive in order to make it better. But here we are. Here's the broken tailpiece. So we pull this off, we put this on, and then throw it all back together. So now you see we got the turn signal going left, but it's turning right. So it's just a matter of figuring out the wires after this. So in case you don't know, black is power on this, and then the double green here is power. So now I just need to arrange this, and if you want to know, it's got lights on this side too. You basically, all I need to do is plug it into this side, and then that's going to give us our proper turn signal, because we've got it turning left, but it's showing us going right. So now you see signal going right, signal going right. Now, one thing you have to know is this has its own power signal, and this has its own power signal. So that's why there's the blue wire here, the blue wire. So you need to jam them both into one connection. So I just jammed it in there to test it. So then we need to hook it up correctly. So we now know that orange is left and blue is right. So we just took electrical tape and we just taped it together. No need to get fancy, do anything with clamps or whatever else. You can, of course, fix the connections and make it like some simple plug. But just tape it so it doesn't pull out. And I don't pull out. That's why I got 9 kids, so I'm an expert, trust me. And yeah, that's all you need to do. Nothing complicated. Just keep it simple in case you got to take it apart and repair something again. So, final results. Right there. Look at that. That's beautiful. MashaAllah. Let's get you some light here. Do I got light? Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Looks like it was. It looks better than the original. So yeah, that's what it looks like when you're finished. What? Oh, the battery's dying. Look, very little, if any, flex inside there. It's like, before it would move a whole lot, now it doesn't flex at all. It's like, it's nice and solid. So yeah, if this breaks again, I'd be surprised. So it's a little bit of work, but I think it was worth it. Now, what you could do, actually, I'll just show you what you can do, just to double check that vibrations aren't like really affecting your stuff. There was some bending in the aluminum here, but I'm not really worried about that. Let me show you what we're gonna do. Oh, what do we do? Put stripes on the bolts and across the body. So now we know that if the bolt moves, if it's getting loose, we can see that the lines no longer match. What you think of that? What you think of that? So we're just gonna, tape down this wire here, zip tie it down, and we're done. And just in case you're wondering, running light. Excuse the mess over there. It's all my work junk. Because this house is one of those modern houses without like real storage. Boom. Works. Right. Right. Left. Left. Now we just got to attach the license plate also. Before I taped this to this, because when it would vibrate, it would just sort of hang down. It's like the vibrations can eventually be down here, and these two would be separated. And I used to tape this together so that the plastic followed it. And that's why this plastic was broken, and I had to replace it. Because when the tail thing broke off, this broke with it, because it was taped together. So now I don't have to do that. As you can see, this thing is like solid as a rock. It's like very, very solid. So I'm quite pleased with the results of my work. So an unexpected consequence. So when pushing this up, this thing right here, the bolt was like in the way. And so I had to just cut a little thing out of it. So like when you push it up, it's not pushing this whole thing down. But before this, apparently, I don't know if you can see it because of the lighting, this is split, so now I have to find a way to repair this. I got super glue, but I don't think that's gonna be enough. Because even when you push it up like this, you can't see it because it's so dark, but you can see it here. When you push it up, because of the way the tidy tail is, it causes this thing to like sort of stretch. So you need to find a way to push that up there and then put those lock pins in, because there's like a lock pin inside there. And we need to figure out how to make that work. So let's fix this first and then go to the next step and see what happens. So as you can see the split here better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut one of these on each side, super glue it here, you know, on the inside. Then, so we got our super glue here, and then just heat this up and then run it through the hole. Yeah, and that's the temporary repair until I get a new one of these things, because these are a dime a dozen. You find them everywhere, these things. So this is what it looks like from the inside, and you can see it's got a little bit of flexibility. It's not perfect, but it's enough that I can reattach the the little things. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just got to work, and I just need to order a new one.